All right, we're live. I'm live in multiple places. Welcome to the replay. Drop a hey in the comments. Let me know that you are tuning in. This is going to be quick, y'all. I want to talk about intention and not just intention for intention's sake, but intention as a strategic element in your marketing. I know we don't talk about this like this. Usually, when people are talking about intention, they're talking like the real woo woo stuff and, manifesting and all of that. But I am here to tell you, to encourage you to shift the way you think about intention because it has a place in your marketing strategy. And if you allow it to be, it can impact your business for the better because your marketing performs better. So I'm actually working on a blog post about this right now, um, all about how intention shows up in marketing. And oh, I didn't introduce myself. So I'm Monique James, a Renegade Creative Media Group. I am a fractional CMO and a content strategist. I help online brand owners and nonprofit leaders leverage the power of clarity so that their marketing messages get the results that they want. So, anyway, back to the blog post. I'm working on this blog post about intention. And like I said, this isn't something that we usually expect to be discussing when we're talking about marketing, when we're talking about strategy, right? We don't think about that. But for me, I really am in a space right now of shifting the focus. In the past, in previous iterations of my brand, I have talked about everything from social media and learning how to maximize your presence across a variety of social media platforms. I've talked about content development in a variety of ways. And now, right now, I really want to focus on those strategic elements of strategy because they are the foundation of your marketing. If you are struggling right now with knowing what to say on social media, that's probably because your strategy isn't clear. If you are struggling right now with figuring out which channel to be on or how to maximize the channel, that's probably because your strategy isn't clear. So for me, pulling the curtain back and breaking this thing down to the foundation of the strategy and what's included in the strategy makes the most sense. It doesn't, it's not enough. It's not acceptable to me anymore to simply just talk about social media for social media's sake. That's unacceptable to me. And so I am in the space where I'm wanting to talk more about these underlying elements that have always been there. I recognize I wasn't talking about them explicitly in my own content. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And so I was a guest on a podcast. We recorded the episode yesterday. And when it comes out, I'll be sure to share it across my socials. But one of the questions that the host asked me was what I would say to a client who is struggling with stepping into something new, saying yes to something scary, uh, showing up differently, because we've been talking about mindset and really overcoming limiting beliefs and silencing the voice of doubt and how all of those things play into the journey of an entrepreneur. And so he asked me, what would I say if I was working with someone and they were struggling with those things? How would I, as a consultant, as a coach, what would I say to them? And the first thing that I said I would say to that person is I would ask them a question. I would ask them, what if the way that you've been moving, the way that you've been making decisions, the way that you've been handling when you're at a crossroads, what if the way that you've been doing things up until this point is no longer applicable? What if this is the time that you have to interrupt your own pattern in order to create something new? And then I said, I would remind them that even though they might be feeling afraid at this moment, they've already done something scary because we're having the conversation. That means they've reached out for support. That means they've looked for resources. They've admitted they need support, and they've supported themselves with the support that they need. So they've already done something that's kind of scary. And so that deserves to be acknowledged. And then I said I would remind them that they are in a journey, and if they live long enough, they will find themselves at a moment like this again. And so it's going to be important to build those practices and build that habit of not allowing fear and limiting beliefs and doubt to keep them in a familiar place that they know is expired. So making sure that they recognize that they are in a process, and that process can support them for the rest of their lives if they move through it. And then I would say, um, I would tell them to remember the process and remember the conversation, because when they're in the next season of being at the point of a shift, being at the doorway of something different, they're going to need to remember their own receipts. They're going to need to remember and remind themselves that, you know what, this is hard. Yes, I've done hard things before, and this is what I did the last time, because they're going to need to apply that wisdom for the new situation. And so I broke all of that down as my answer. And in telling him that, that is where my intention shows up. I try to be very intentional about how I interact with people, whether I'm working with them on their marketing strategy or I'm working with them on their personal growth through my confidence coaching brand. I try to be very intentional, meaning I try to create an atmosphere where my client can trust themselves to take scary steps because they know that they're not alone. That is something that I mean to do. I take deliberate action to create that environment when I'm working with somebody. That is intention. That is how my intention shows up. I mean for them to know that the journey that they're about to walk through is going to challenge them in ways that they've probably never been challenged before, and they are not alone. I am right there with them. And so, if that is my intention, I've just shared with you all what my intention is, then my content has to reflect that. My content cannot be about 5 hacks to blah, blah, blah. It has to be about the pieces that my audience hasn't considered belong in their marketing strategy, like their brand beliefs, or recognizing that their brand has a voice and they need to know what that is, or identifying what their brand values are so that that shapes their brand message, and then they bring that message to their intended customers, and then based on who their intended customers are, that's how they know what channels to be on. And being honest about their own capacity and bandwidth, that's how they know how to design their publishing and scheduling and distribution and amplification. I can't, if my intention is for my clients to know that they are about to walk through something that is going to challenge them in a brand new way, and they are not alone and they can trust me to support them, my content has to reflect that. And so that is how intention is invisible and it's tangible. Because when you, as a marketer, take the time to consider what stories, what narratives, what experiences, what mindset the people who will interact with your business are carrying when they show up at the point of the transaction. Not even at the point of the transaction. When they show up to watch your video, when they show up to read your blog posts, they are bringing a whole lot of life with them. I know you might think, it's just about the sale. Like, this is what I sell. We're just here for this. That's not even true. That's not even reality. They are bringing an entire set of life and narratives and stories and beliefs with them. And so if you haven't considered those things and allowed those things to show up in your content, then there's probably going to be a disconnect. And here's the thing. Even if you get the sale, that customer might feel some, what is the thing? What's the phrase? Buyer's remorse. They might feel some remorse. And if you don't want people to buy from you and then feel a pang of regret afterward, then it is really important that you get clear on what your intention is. What is the experience that you want your people to step into when they interact with your content? Before you even get to the transaction, what is the experience? How do you want them to feel? What do you want them to start widening the lens to believe when they watch your video, when they read your blog, when they read that caption on your TikTok or your Instagram reel? What do you want them to step into? Because if you are clear on that, and if you allow that to be infused in your marketing, along with all of those other pieces that I talked about, because strategy matters, then you will create an environment where they are comfortable, confident, clear, delighted by the experiences. Oh my goodness, Stacy says on Instagram, chargeback because they are not emotionally attached to the service or the results. And I know, we're talking about marketing, right? And I know we're saying marketing, and people are like, what does emotion have to do? What role? Why are we even talking about emotion? Well, because a lot of us the buying decisions we make are emotional decisions. And as marketers, if we do not understand that and allow that to show up in the messages that we publish, we're missing something. We're missing it. We're just missing it. So I want you to think about the last time somebody did something for you, and as you took that experience or that thing, as you took it all in, you were overwhelmed with emotion. Maybe because in that moment you recognize, oh my gosh, this person really gets me. This person really understands me. I feel so appreciated. I feel so loved. I feel so cherished and nurtured. You felt that way because that person was intentional about creating an experience for you to feel that way. And so one of the questions that I ask my one-on-one clients, marketing strategy clients, is how do you want your customers to feel after they've purchased with you? When you can identify that, we can work to create the content and to support that. And again, if you're selling to humans and you understand that those buying decisions have some emotional ties to them, then thinking about how you want them to feel and aligning your intentions with that and allowing that intention to show up in your marketing. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't do that. Think about how would it change your business if The people who engaged with your content felt like you got it. They felt like you understood them. They felt like you see them, you hear them, you acknowledge them. They don't feel invisible in your community. And your clients, the people who buy from you, are so delighted and happy and so confident that they have made the best choice for them. And then the experience afterward, they don't have regret. They are like, this is what I needed to do to support me. I'm going to go out here and change the world from having this experience. How would it change your business for you to allow intention, that invisible thing, to become tangible in your business, to show up in your marketing? People walk into the room, walk into your office, and they're like, oh my gosh, I made the right choice. They walk into your event and they feel nurtured, seen, all the things. How would it change the bottom line of your business for your audience to understand that you understand them, or for your customers to be comfortable in their purchase, or for your peers to know that they can trust you with the responsibility of their referral? How would your business change? Intention is invisible. That is true. It is also tangible if you allow it to be. So that's all I wanted to share with you all. I know that was a lot. Listen, like I said, we have I believe you might connect with some marketers. You might be one of those marketers who don't agree with me, and that's fine. I believe that as marketers, we have a responsibility. We do. We do. And if you are passionate, if the thing that you bring to the world is an extension of that passion or that fervor or that intense emotion toward a thing or at a thing or at solving a problem, then we have a responsibility for that to show up in the marketing that we put out to the world, because then it allows people to make informed decisions about us. Informed decisions. We've done our due diligence to make sure that we've put out where we stand, who we stand for, who we support, why we support, all of the things. And then people get to make the choice freely without having to be coerced or dragged along or berated into submission. Intention is invisible. It's also tangible. Think about how you can get clear on your own intention and allow that to show up in your marketing. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let me know your comments. Drop them in the comments. I would love to hear them. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll catch you in my next broadcast.